Hey, on a YouTube video, someone had mentioned that they had found that while they were reassembling their new SIG P320, that if they did it incorrectly, it could cause the gun to actually not fire. And there was a little bit of discussion about that on some online forums. I just wanted to give you some insight into what was actually going on inside the gun to cause that, and why, according to Bruce Gray and some others, that it's not really a problem. So first, what the wrong thing to do, what this gentleman did when he was reassembling his gun initially, is the takedown lever itself, he had it not all the way set back. He had it in kind of an up and down position like this. When he reassembled the gun, it actually cocked back by itself, which is not something it normally does. And then at that point, when you pull the trigger, nothing happens. You get no striker engagement. It doesn't go off. You know, they're really the safety, internal safeties that try to keep the gun from firing when it's out of battery, when it's disassembled. Those are still engaged. So yeah, it's definitely not something that you would normally want. However, so let's take a look at what's going on and why it's not a problem. So again, when you take it apart normally, you'd lock the gun to the rear, you engage the takedown lever, bring it off, it comes forward here. Alright, so what's happening here is there is this little metal piece that sits right here. And that little metal piece is they actually it has a little tab that's engaged when the slide release is down. It actually has a little tab right there that engages in front of the slide release, so that you can't actually move this thing in unless the slide release is up. So, and of course, unless the takedown lever is in its correct orientation. So when this is in this position, two things happen. One, you actually can't, there's no engagement on the trigger bar with the sear, so that doesn't go anywhere, so you get no clicks, you get no movement there. The second is, when you look at your magazine, this is protruding into the magazine well, you can't actually insert a magazine. The magazine won't stay, a magazine won't even go all the way up in the gun when you have that condition that caused the trigger to not go back all the way when you had reassembled it incorrectly. So this is absolutely not something that anyone should have to worry about, where they could be reassembling a carry gun or a competition gun, do this incorrectly, and they wouldn't notice it. You would absolutely notice it, because again, you will not get your magazine in there. So, and what it looks like when this is disengaged, if you rotate that lever in the correct position, again, put up, there you go, your slide release lever, and that just pops right out of the way. That little metal tab is now cleared. If you notice now, you can put a magazine in there, and of course, at that point, you can dry fire the striker part of the gun. And because of the really unique characteristics of the trigger mechanism with the SIG P320, you actually do have some dry fire capability, even without a slide, without anything else, which is actually really unique. But until that safety is disengaged, you don't really see that. So the other question was, what does it have to do with the slide release? Well, that safety really has nothing to do with the slide release, other than there's this little itty bitty tab right here, and this other safety is pushing up against the slide release until the slide release moves out of the way, and then it comes back down and stays in a position where until the slide release is up, you won't be able to move that safety back out and consequently engage that takedown lever. So again, reassembling it correctly from that position, and you hopefully should see that little safety, the little guy right there, start to pop out. Again, we're looking at this thing right here is what's stopping that magazine from going in, and what's stopping from being able to make that gun function. And we'll do it back the other way. There it goes out. Okay, so again, we're putting the gun back together, get that in the correct position, slide goes back on, and lock that to the rear, latch goes down. Alright, and of course our magazine will now go in, and And there you have it. So, not a problem, and actually, again, the gun will certainly let you know when you can't fit a magazine in there and when it doesn't go click when you're trying to dry fire it, that you've reassembled it incorrectly if you somehow do that. But really, if you're following the instruction from SIG, which is you leave that all the way back in this position, you're locking the slide to the rear when you assemble and disassemble and reassemble the gun, is not something that you should run into. But if you do run into it, it's not a problem. You'll be able to know before you get that gun into some sort of condition where you think you need to trust your life on it or a competition on it or anything else like that. Hope that's helpful. Thank you.